Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, happy Friday. How's everyone doing? It's Dave Neal, stand-up comedian and host of Bachelor Recap, a Guy's Review. I'm about to show you a video, as you guys saw from the title, that puts up a sort of case for how Brittany Galvin could potentially sue the Bachelor producers for defamation. Yesterday was my 10-hour, 10,000 subscriber live stream. I did 10 straight hours and 5 minutes of live streaming, talking to Bachelor Nation about a ton of different topics. At the 6-hour mark, I got a message in my comment section from someone who's a friend of the Bachelor community, and said that she actually was discussing this scenario in her law class. She's a third-year law student, and it was very fascinating. So we got her on Skype, and we had a conversation about what constitutes defamation, NDAs in settlements, and how they're sort of like giving people more of a voice. It used to be you'd throw money at people to silence them, but that doesn't help the cause. And then we're also going to talk about how Brittany Galvin could prove actual malice. Can she prove that the Bachelor producers, along with Anna and the other contestants that were involved with this, had malice in saying that Brittany Galvin was an escort, which she had then denied. So this was all aired. It was all over the news and the gossip rags. If she Googles her name, it's going to show up, and it's just a bad look. So we had this conversation. I think it's important. A lot of people that defend Bachelor producers go, hey, they signed a contract. Well, there's a lot of contracts that are signed without, proper legal representation. So you got the Bachelor producers, they're bulletproof with their contracts. They know everything's perfect, blah, blah, blah. And then you have these contestants. She's 23 years old. She wants to go on this dating reality show. Does she think it's going to slander her for the rest of her life? Probably not. It was in bad faith. So this conversation's very interesting. The full 10-hour video live stream you can find. I'll put a link at the end or up top right here, so you can find that if you want to kill some time today. And I want to give a big shout out to the Bachelor community. 600,000 views on my channel this month. We're actually at 11,000 subscribers. So I thank you guys so much. I thank you for participating in the 10-hour live stream. I only took one break. It was a ton of fun. And I love that people like Abby exist, who Skyped in, the third-year law student. She's going to be my new legal correspondent for anything Bachelor-related. We also talked at the very end about Luke P. He was sued by the Bachelor producers for $100,000 plus $20,000 in court fees, so for $120,000 because he spoke out on 4 unapproved podcasts. And it just reeks of bad taste that they're able to basically be a tornado through these people's lives, and then there's no FEMA to show up after. So while Brittany had released a statement saying, oh, I'm thankful for all the people that have my back in all that, well, this could have effects for years down the road. So we get into all of that. So enjoy my chat. And by the way, like I said, 10-hour live stream. I had a balloon in the background. I had a princess tiara in my hair. So please forgive all the aesthetics. That's why I wanted to give you this introduction. But enjoy my chat with Abby as we talk about this potential defamation lawsuit that Brittany has on her hands.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to geek out on this Bachelor issue. I had to talk to you about it because I saw your video that you posted after that episode aired, and about whether Brittany could sue. And I had just watched that episode, and I had the same thought. And before I saw your video, I was in my I'm a third-year law student and work in the legal field. Not graduated yet, so this is not legal advice or anything, but I have to do the disclaimer. No, but I immediately, we were studying defamation and slander in my law class that night, and I'm going, I have to ask my professor about this. We have to talk about this.
What a great topical thing for your class.
Right. It ended up being perfect timing, really. And then I saw your video right afterwards, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I know exactly what's going on here. But
Abigail, by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt. I hope you understand. You're officially going to be my legal counsel from now on.
I humbly accept. Yes, absolutely. No, I'm happy I found your videos before you, because I think you're going to blow up. I mean, you're already blowing up, but I think you're going to be huge soon.
Thank you.
So I got in, and I'm like, oh, this is fun because it's still small enough and people can interact. And I love the content on your videos because you really get into the deeper issues behind some of the surface content of whatever you're talking about. So I loved that you made a video about that episode in particular. So
was it enraging to watch Just as a human and as a woman, how did you feel about watching? And again, just for people that don't understand, there was a lead up to this latest episode of The Bachelor where a new contestant was coming onto the show, and there was a rumor that she was a sex worker. Now, they led this up with promos, and we have to remember, Bachelor controls their messaging. They control the show. They let it slide that there was a potential sex worker on the show. Anna and another girl, Kaylee or whatever, accused her of being a sex worker. She denied it. She said, "I'm not a sex worker. I'm not a sugar baby or whatever." And then that kind of was the end of it. And then they said later on, maybe she is. And they kind of just let it linger. And while we were angry at Anna for accusing someone of being a sex worker, shaming them if they are, very dangerous. If she is, it's dangerous. If she's not, it's dangerous. And her whole life, if you Google her name, Brittany Galvin, first 15 things are titles like, "Oh, Bachelor contestant accused of being a sex worker." None of it was true. And if it were, it still was outing somebody. So I watched that enraged, but also enraged at Bachelor because how irresponsible of them to do this for the paychecks of a bunch of rich guys in Hollywood.
Absolutely. I had the same thought. I almost expected that kind of behavior from contestants like Anna. So as enraging as it is to see women not supporting each other and throwing these false accusations around, it was more enraging to see ABC, who does control the narrative, who knew that she would respond and say it was false and continue to publish it anyway. And that's why we have defamation law. And so we had a really thorough discussion on, is this speech from Anna, and then, later I think repeated by Victoria, is that slander? And then, is it slander for ABC to republish that like they did? And then once you conclude that, you go, well, who's liable for this? And can she recover if she wanted to sue either ABC or Anna, and possibly Victoria or anyone who republished the information? But there is a standard of proof that you have to meet. And it's kind of an interesting way that defamation law has developed in the United States, because we have this huge, robust history of free speech that we want to protect, and it's foundational to democracy. So that's why we have sort of a high standard of proof to show that you've been slandered. But I can tell you what that is and what
Please do.
I think about it. So, okay, when you want to prove that someone has committed, when we say defamation, it's either libel or slander, right?
And I'm sorry, can I just clarify? First of all, it has to be something that's false. If Tiger Woods, I just say this because I was watching the documentary, if he cheats on his wife with 10 women and it's true, I can talk all I want about it. Freedom of speech, it happened. But if it did, so it's almost like normally it's innocent until proven guilty, but it sounds in defamation, you have to prove the opposite.
Yeah, you're pretty close.
I'll take it.
For you to recover, the information does have to be false. But when you say the information, when you speak it, you don't necessarily have to know that it's true for certainty, especially if who you're talking about is a public figure. But what the standard is, it's called actual malice. It means that if you say something and you either know it's false or it's reckless disregard for the truth. So for Anna to say, someone sent me a text message and alluded, because you're associating with rich men in the city, you must be a sex worker, and she then repeats the information, that's the standard that we look at that speech and say, well, did she know for certainty it's false? Probably not, but is that reckless disregard for the truth that she didn't, confirm that, ask her questions before repeating that information? And I think it is reckless disregard for the truth.
Also, earlier on in the show, they do the testimonial where she talks to camera. She goes, if this is, I'm paraphrasing, but she does the whole thing where she's like, well, if she's going to be a problem, I got some news that's going to stop her. So you can see that she's weaponizing it before she uses it.
Absolutely.
So that proves that has to prove malice.
It definitely seems to show a malicious intent. And then you can hold someone liable, not only the person who says the slander or the defamation, but anyone who repeats it then, if they meet the same standards. So if Victoria repeats this information with reckless disregard for the truth, she's also liable. Now, ABC, obviously, if we put aside their contracts for a second and who might be indemnified or signing away their rights, normally ABC would absolutely be held accountable for republishing this slander. And that's what she would want, is to recover against the defendant with a lot of money, right? Because Anna probably doesn't have, a ton of money. We don't know. But
it's basically, I like to run it up the totem pole. She's against Disney. Disney owns ABC, so Disney with their princesses and putting all the money into all this, it's garbage that they're then promoting a show that recklessly accuses somebody, and not just on air, previews leading up to it that were worse than the actual true events. That's what made me so upset, because when you find the truth, you go, oh, I thought we were going to defend a sex worker, which in its own deserves defending, but instead we're defending a defamatory statement.
Exactly. ABC doesn't seem to have much of a moral compass here, for sure. And, just because she may have signed an indemnification agreement saying that she would not hold ABC accountable in the event of something like this, doesn't necessarily mean she can't recover. And contract law is not the field that I work in, but I do know that courts will sometimes invalidate an agreement like that because there's unequal bargaining power. You don't get to negotiate your rights when you sign this ABC prepared contract with their team of corporate lawyers, and you don't have equal bargaining power there.
It's all there to protect ABC, and there's no union to protect the contestants. There's a huge supply of people that want to do it, so they can pick and choose who's going to play by our rules.
Exactly. So a court may say this is unfair and invalidate it. Even if they were to hold the contract to be valid, she could still go after Anna and, potentially other contestants who repeated it. But the reason it's so hard to prove a defamatory statement against a public official, it's a pretty high standard, not a public, we call them a public figure, anyone who is in the public eye. So
Gotcha.
Normally she'd just be a private citizen if she hadn't gone on The Bachelor. But we want to be able to critique our public figures and public officials, and that's why there's a high standard of actual malice that you have to meet. But if my neighbor says, puts out slander that I'm a sex worker and I'm just a private figure, I haven't put myself in the public eye, I don't have to show that she knew it was a lie or had reckless disregard for the truth. It's easier to recover as a private figure. So there's just a differentiation between, is this a public or private figure, and is this a matter of public interest? And normally sex life is not a matter of public interest. But when you're on the show The Bachelor, your whole romantic history and everything sort of does become a matter of public interest. So that's why she has a little bit of a harder road ahead of her. But I do think that it absolutely qualified as defamation, and I hope that she can recover and repair her reputation. It was just really hard to watch all around.
Let me ask you, how do you, by the way, the comment section's lighting up. I really do appreciate this legal advice, because I am a bloke who Googles things. So for you to come on and talk these words, I'm just happy to. I wrote down actual malice because I'm like, oh, that sounds smart. Yeah. I'm going to talk next time I'm fighting. I'm going to fight with Tasha, and I'll be like, Tasha, you're providing a lot of actual malice to me in this argument, and let me get Abigail on the phone here because I feel like you're defamatory.
That's great. I'll mediate.
Yeah, please do. So the idea that the show does revolve around love, it's almost like the show goes so out of its way to protect its own ass when it comes to not having controversial characters on the show. It doesn't always do a good job. You can't, you got a video, all these issues with Rachel and all these other issues we can't get into now of people like the woke police are out there. But we're talking about something that's like court of law. What the case is here. Now we say, will Brittany recover? To me, it's like a butterfly effect. Well, I act, I do commercial auditions and stuff. If anyone Googles her, whether she committed the crime or not, she's not going to get the commercial over the other girl. She's not going to get the toss-up jobs that she would have otherwise been entitled to get as a working model, spokesperson, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. The ramifications are huge. And that's why traditionally we do have sizable awards for damages if you can prove this. And hopefully she can recover a substantial amount of money. But you're right. It's not going to rectify. You can't unring a bell is something that we say in court. Once somebody hears something, you can prove that it's false. You can be awarded money for it, but it's out there.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, to me, it sounds like you go, wow, what's it worth? 20 grand? Yeah, on the day, but this is also like $1 million thing. This is like a big thing. Her whole life is, and I use the example, what if she doesn't want to be in the public eye? What if she wants to start a nursery? And
Right.
then Leah Googles Brittany Galvin and she goes, I think I'll pass on that. Like
Yeah.
it's
No,
just
it'll affect her whole life. Unfortunately, that's just how it is, and it's so hard to watch Anna and Victoria, these girls, still be on the show. I'm just so over it, and I'm eagerly looking forward to when they go home and we don't have to see Anna's face anymore. But it is providing a lot of entertaining.
boy, Anna's
comments.
face. I tell you what. Now I'm not here to shame anybody, but she looks mean.
What is up with it? Yeah. Somebody, I read a comment that somebody said she looks like she's trying to keep her bottom and top lip from ever touching, and that's just the permanent set that her face is in.
I like that because that's not necessarily body shaming. It's more like a action. We're shaming what she's doing with her body. No, but
Right.
and of course, then photos came out. This is what happens when you want to play this game. Photos came out of her being a bottle service girl, which I looked into because if anyone's watching on the new Tiger Woods documentary on HBO, talks about how Tiger was caught cheating. And one of his main mistresses was Rachel Yucatel, who had a $10 million lawsuit after it was all said and done. She was awarded $10 million, which crazy. She just filed for bankruptcy. Another story. Don't want to get into that. But she was a bottle service girl, and they did this whole expose on bottle service girls, and they themselves describes themselves as half stripper, half pimp, because their job's to just like get these wealthy people, the girls off the dance floor. So the morality issue, it's like, how tone deaf was she to be like, I think I know something about you? And it's almost like, at the very least, shows that negativity, like no amount of her knocking another woman down is going to make her look any more attractive. It's just a weird game they do on Bachelor.
It is a weird thing to do. It's a power play. It backfired horribly. And it also makes you wonder why ABC, if there's ever a scandal or something that a male contestant does, a lot of the times you don't hear about it. They don't focus on it as much. They don't drag the name through the mud, but it appears like they've really just done Brittany a terrible disservice. And it kind of exposes that there's sort of a gender inequality possibly that ABC's playing into.
Can I ask you this about now? What if you're Brittany and you were a bottle service girl? Are you worried? Which legally fine. I've got no moral issues. My whole thing was the hypocrisy of Anna doing it. Love bottle service girls. You got I'm gonna make Tasha be a bottle service girl at 5. I'm gonna put a sparkler in the champagne. She'll be in a hoodie. But what sort of issues is she going to have if she were to decide to sue? Which it sounds like no one wants to touch ABC. But would then ABC be forced to like play their hand and like scrub through her past to be like, well, she wasn't an escort, but she did receive money for working as a bottle service girl, so therefore the statements are sort of true.
That's actually a really interesting point. You might have been a good lawyer. You might have considered a different career path.
I did background on the Good Wife, the law show, The Good Wife,
wow, did you really?
and I worked on every spinoff of Law and Order. So no, I know nothing.
Yeah, you might see, if she did take on ABC, you might see them digging through her background and attempting to prove that maybe she had some type of escort or escort-esque service in her background that would show the statement wasn't false, or it wasn't, almost false. You have to really be sure that what you're saying is false for it to qualify. And so if they can cast some doubt and they can say, well, maybe she didn't know when she made the statement, but you also have to take into account if Anna doesn't know about, Brittany's anything in her past, then it's not going to change the statement, because we look at what she knew at the time she made the statement, not really what comes up later. So I think that's probably how that would play out.
It's so fascinating. I could talk to you for 10 hours about this. I know you don't have the time, but it's so fascinating because
I did my whole day. I had things planned for the day, dude, and this stream has been so interesting and the comments have been so interesting.
Oh, thank you so much.
Just been plugged in pretty much the whole time.
I couldn't do it without all of you guys because I didn't bring anything to talk about. I was going to have like old joke books to go through if the conversation got stale, but everyone's been so amazing. Now, what's so funny, because I'm definitely going to have to clip this conversation together as a separate video because you're so informing, and people are going to be like, people are going to be listening to some tort law and wonder why I've got a mini hat on. It's for my 10,000 subscriber special. But well, I have 2 questions about this. So I would think that the bad publicity, it's almost like if I'm Brittany's lawyer, I go, look, you want to dig through a 23-year-old's history to win an argument? Go have at it. Go Me Too your own contestants right now and see how many people want to be on your show in good faith. I think you play ABC's hand so hard that they settle this thing. I mean, I'm talking big time. Like, get this thing settled, but also the thing I hate about settlements, the thing I hate so much is it helps the individual person, but then they always put like a gag or whatever it's called where they're not allowed to talk about it. So then it's like, no. Admit wrong, admit it was reckless, complete apology, and you better pay her an undisclosed amount. That's where I'm at.
Yes, I think the law is moving in that direction where NDAs they're less popular, and there's a movement to change that because of Me Too. You know, some of Harvey Weinstein's victims, some high profile victims haven't been able to tell their stories for decades.
How many women were sexually assaulted because of these gag law? Throw money at people. I mean, how reckless is that?
Exactly. The next girl can't benefit from the truth you could tell. So I hope we see a change in the law over the next, it may take 5 to 10 years, but hopefully these NDAs become less and less common.
My other question, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So my other question, to relate it back to a sort of intimidation factor, it's so fun. So much has happened in the last year. So much has been going on. And because I've had so much free time, I've been, deep diving into it. But Luke P. was sued for $100,000 plus $20,000 in court fees. So essentially, Luke P. was a quote unquote villain. He had a religious sort of differences with
his season. Yeah, he was wild.
So he decided to go against whatever the contracts were, and he spoke on 4 podcasts, and he was sued for $25,000 for each podcast he spoke on that wasn't part of their approved program. I've invited people onto my show. They've told me they can't do it. I'm not an approved show. Fine. I'm more counterculture. I want to ask real questions. I don't want to be part of this sugar fluff. I know some of the producers. I see them in my neighborhood. My buddy, I got a few buddies that were producers on the show. They're airtight. No one's talking. I totally get it. You're not talking, fine. But for Luke P. to not like the way he was portrayed, whether you believe in his ideologies or not, for them to take their powerful lawyers and sue this man for $120,000, who's going to go against ABC now?
And it's really not a good look for ABC. It's horrible. Not to go after their own contestant, So hopefully they have some common sense. And if Brittany can get that indemnity agreement invalidated, then hopefully they'll just settle with her and not take this to court and have it be a high-profile case that gets bad publicity for ABC. You hope they have that common sense, but I don't know.
And look, if I'm paid by ABC, I got to worry about providing for my family. We become very guarded when it comes to things. Like I totally understand how some people are complicit with certain things and not whistleblowers in certain ways. I totally understand. You don't bite the hand that feeds. So I'm looking at the Nick Viles, the people in the Bachelor community, the Lauren Zimas, even Chris Harrison. I'm looking at them going, all right, Chris Harrison, you're going to move to Texas so you can avoid taxes from the state that made you. Fine, sure, that's legal, great. But you're also going to slander a 23-year-old, a lady half your age, because what? You're going to bump a couple extra ratings? The ratings this season are horrible. Apparently, I watch it, whatever, but apparently it's bad. And so many people are saying, look, I want to boycott this. And I don't think you should have to boycott it. I guess that's how the civic kind of, I guess that's a solution, but I don't think you should have to boycott it for them to want to change and do the right thing.
Yes, there's a middle ground. And, you keep doing videos like this, keep discussing all of the optics and digging into the heart of the issue. And the more publicity they get, the more this stirs discussion. Hopefully they will move in that direction. Hopefully we'll see some change without people having to boycott, because it is a fun show. Everybody enjoys it until things like this happen, and they really make you question whether you can watch it in good conscience. So,
and that's what it comes down to, is just wanting to watch a show and be like, look, I'm cool having an edible, watching some people throw some elbows, do a little boxing. Oh, we like Serena. Oh, we don't like her. Fine. Then all of a sudden they're sluts, whores, slores. They're doing all this. And it's like, when did I become this voice of reason where like, I'm cool with drama. I like a little bit of drama, but this is reckless. And then I challenge all these people that aren't talking about it. And then Kyla in the comment section said that Chatty Broads is the only one criticizing it. They've always been kind of like, go at their own speed. They're also like I'm not saying they're not welcomed by the community, but they're not like they're kind of on the peripheral. And it's like, what, it's just, what's next? We know there's been reality shows where people kill themselves or have trauma. It doesn't happen the next day. It doesn't happen the next week. It's something they live with until you find, I mean, I hate to be also morose, but then you find someone with a vacuum cleaner around their neck and then they're dead. And this is what happened from the contestant Gigi or whatever her name was that was on Bachelor Pad. It's happened in other countries. It's so reckless. And it's just, I don't think that's what you need on Disney, ABC, when it comes to creating this drama. That's all. It's just it's not a tall ask we're asking for.
No, it's not. And if we're going to be complicit in watching it, then the least we can do is discuss it and point out that it's wrong.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I know. I love what you're doing, and thank you for letting me be a part of it. I am happy to comment on any of the legal implications of these dramatic things that happen. So.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you calling so much. I know the comment section does as well. So go back and see all that love you got. And you're for sure gonna have your own private practice opening up with all the people that need help. What just so people can tie a little bow onto you? That's weird. What's your next steps with once you graduate? What's your plan?
So I'll take the bar. I have law clerked for my local district attorney's office for about 2 years now, and I really like that. So I'm going to stick with criminal law, hopefully, and be a prosecutor. So if all goes well, yeah.
You got that nice, you got that innocent, you got the nice dimples, and then you're going to lay down that law.
Yeah, they won't see it coming.
Well, please. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I left you a voicemail earlier this morning. Disregard it. I was trolling you for how you said you were Dax Shepard's second cousin a few days ago.
Oh, that was your comment.
That was me. And I believed it. And I even my husband's in the other room and I was like, babe, look, this is Dax Shepard's second cousin. I knew he looked like someone. And he goes, oh, he totally does. Yeah.
I just get that 5 times a day.
You had me dying laughing.
Hey, maybe I am. I got to do a 23andMe. He lives up the neighborhood. I never see him, but I run through his neighborhood because it's over there in Silver Lake. But well, tell your husband I said hi. Tell him Dax Shepard's fake second cousin says hi. And I'm gonna for sure be in touch with any other Bachelor legal stuff, which I hope is never this serious. But I really appreciate hearing from you because, like I said, otherwise I'm just some bloke Googling these things. So you've added a lot of credibility to the discussion.
Well, sure thing. I look forward to hearing from you and watching your channel grow. I think you've got, nowhere to go but up, and you're doing great. So keep up the good work.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, that's Abigail, everyone.
Right.
Take care.
Thank you guys so much for watching that clip. I really appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to like this video. Leave a comment and let me know what you think. Of course, it's a very controversial. I think there's probably a 99% chance that Brittany doesn't end up filing a suit because it just drudges up a lot of, ugliness when you have to get into these battles. But it's interesting to think about, and I hope we all learned something. See you guys next time. Bye, everybody. Have a good weekend.